Hello everyone and welcome back to the Planet Sports interviews. We have a bit more of a high profile, I guess, interviewee today, Adam Franks, who is one of the player manager of Salford Victoria FC. Nice to meet you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, yeah. The
Not
weather's
too, n- not
weather's
too,
nice, so yeah, doing well.
not too affected by the whole COVID situation, I hope, at the
No,
moment.
I'm kind of like trying to avoid that.
Yeah, of course, grassroots football is sort of on a return now. So we're sort of taking back sort of the more local roots of football instead of the professional game. But of course, a lot of people will want to know about Salford Victoria FC and about you yourself. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the team, the league that you play in, the setup that you've got going on, and your involvements in the club itself?
All right, so basically, the Salford Victoria is a team that's been running for about a good few years now. Honestly, can't remember how long they've been running, but it's a family friend and it's his club. It's a charity-based club, so it's obviously we get profited from charities and gift aid and stuff like that. And basically, it's just the reason I wanted to start a team up was grassroots football is obviously, like you said, it's returning and we're trying to make it bigger than it was before if we can. And obviously, I know a lot of lads who have been out of teams, who are looking for teams, and I thought, what better way than starting a team or getting down to training, getting involved with a team, getting back what they used to have, and basically starting something up for the future.
So, in terms of the league that you play in, so how does the league structure work in terms of the division that you play in?
So at the moment, we've been entered into the Eccles Sunday League, and the Eccles Sunday League used to be massive. There was, I think it was like 3 to 4 divisions, but over time it has got smaller and smaller to now we only have 2 groups. There's an A group and a B group. And with COVID and this whole lockdown, we ended up doing a draw out of the hat of who was going to be in each group. So as a club who have just started up basically and getting lads down, and it was so rushed because honestly it was about 4 weeks ago where I had this idea of getting it done, and I knew the season was starting in September. I thought, is it rushed, is it? And then I'm sat there at a meeting and I'm thinking, okay, we can't go back now. And it was I think it was more excitement, but end of the day I think it's more boredom with lockdown, and I was like, I love me football, so I was like, I need to get something done. And this, I call it an early life crisis. It came to me and I just went, I've got to get it done. And I've had so much support because at the end of the day, I'm 21, I'm only young myself. So to have the backing of lads who are older than me, who actually want to play for the team and support my decisions and support what happens in the movement of the club is unreal. And I can't thank them enough for that, because if I didn't have that, I'll be on the back foot already. And I wouldn't know where to begin after being knocked back that much.
Well, exactly. I mean, if you've got the backing of the people around you, it's not going to make it's going to make a massive difference, especially at Sunday League level where it's very much more, I'd say, like sort of community based. It's much more families, team.
Yeah. Well, about 6 years ago, I started playing open age football, and I played for my stepdad. He ran a team. Obviously a Sunday team from a pub, because that's ideally what they were for. Sunday leagues were pub teams, and I ran from a pub in Eccles called the Dog and Partridge, and we started running after about 5 years from there. But I'm ideally using that pub as our base to go back after games, because the guy who runs the pub is all up for it. He's up for putting things on after games, like food, basically just getting the community of the lads back together and having bonds, basically. Because like I said, a lot of the lads are mixed ages, so I think the ages range go from like 16 to early mid-30s, so it's a big wide gap. So it's just basically us trying to get the lads together, get bonding going, get a group, what's the word, just basically like getting a team as one, instead of it being turn up, play your match and go home. We want the lads to always, because at the end of the day, for me playing football when I was younger, you get to know people that you've never seen before, and you'll end up keeping in touch with them people. So like there's players that I've signed up this season that I would have only been able to sign up because I know them from playing previously. So I wouldn't have approached them if I didn't know them. And the fact that I've got that bond already with that player because they played before and they know what we're about. They've not second guessed it. They've just gone, yeah, sign me up, and that's what I respect, because you could get knockbacks. You could get a really good player turn up to training and go, well, I'm signing for another team, and you think, okay, no worries, we move on. But that player could have made a big difference to the season. But for me, it's more, I ideally go for players who are passionate, are reliable, and just ones who show commitment. Because if players turn up to training every week, they will get game time. If they turn up to training and they don't get their minutes, they're just going to go somewhere else.
That's what I want to hear. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I joined a team and I turned up for training twice a week and I didn't get chosen, and there was lads that would turn up on game day and get ahead of me. So it was just like,
Yeah, that's what annoys me. It annoys me because obviously, for me as a player as a player manager, I pick my strongest squad and I speak to my assistant, and we talk about our strongest squad. And ideally, I go, I don't want to start myself because I don't want to look big-headed. I don't want.
yeah.
But he's like, no, you're the best player in that position. You start there. I was like, okay. So you play yourself, and then. But my problem I had yesterday when we played was I was managing the team while I was playing, and you can't do that.
That's got to be tough.
It's tough because I'm making substitutes whilst I'm on the pitch, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? Like, shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, it's got to be strange. I mean, obviously, you've already sort of spoken about it and touched on it, but I mean, what exactly wanted you to start or join the club? Obviously, I know you said, you know, some of it was boredom, but is there I guess a real passion there for coaching and playing itself?
Yeah, I think I just love football, and I mean Sunday league football. Playing it on a Sunday, it makes the weekend, because I'm working Monday to Friday. Come the weekend, I go and watch the football on a Saturday, and I come home, and on a Sunday I'm just doing. It's basically another boring day. It's just as if like Saturday is the one main day, and then the Sunday is just another Monday for me. So I wanted to get back that, get up early, get your match, get out of the house straight away, get doing stuff. And I mean, a lot of people love football. So Sunday League, like you said, it's growing. So I wanted to get the lads back and get amongst players or teams they've played for or played against in the past, and just basically try and show other teams that grassroots football is coming back and it is growing. And the more new teams come up, the more other people might think, well, okay, I might start my own team. And it is a hard process. Obviously, it's financial. It's very hard financially. But if you get a strong backing and you know that you can get the support and you're never going to find yourself in that paying out your back pocket, that's where you find a common ground. You know that you can keep a club afloat without actually turning up to a match and worrying that no one's going to pay. Because yesterday, I was so amazed with it, every player that turned up paid. And that was the first, because I play football and players have just gone to the car and you go out the changing room, they're flying off down the road in the car and you're thinking, okay, brilliant, another week where they've done that. And you end up paying for them and it's not fair.
Yeah,
so I've had players, it's commitment, and it's, if lads are committed and are passionate about what they're doing, they will turn up week in, week out, and they will pay their subs.
Yeah.
So nothing, it's class.
And in terms of coaching, you've mentioned yourself, you know, you're a player manager, which in itself, I think at Sunday League is quite interesting. Obviously, it is more common at Sunday League level, but it's definitely, you know, a tough job to do. But I mean, would you see yourself doing this sort of thing in the future in terms of coaching? Is this a real avenue for you to sort of push for?
Yeah, so I've started off about 16 down the avenue of coaching, and then ended up being like working as a sports coach, PE coach, that kind of stuff. And I got a bit bored of it, because it was like I was planning sessions, and it was like if I got a full week of hockey, I was just repeating the same session. So that repetition just got boring, and it kind of like made me a bit second guess my career.
Yeah.
So I then stopped coaching and went into the education, into teaching. So I'm now like a teaching assistant in a primary school. Right. So I've gone down the sport route and then ended up going on a big dip somewhere else. But I think I'm always up for doing PE still. I still do a PE session here and there when needed. But as a career, I feel like I've got myself settled as what I'm doing now. But I've always wanted to carry on coaching. And if it was just a case of a weekend working for a company, just do some coaching, or it was me running a team or coaching for a team or that kind of avenue, I was open to them options. And then obviously when this came to me, I thought, okay, I could get the coaching done myself, basically it benefits me because I'm coaching, but then also it's for my team. So I know what they're learning and what they're getting from the training because it's from match day. So I'm actually at the match, watching the match, knowing where we're going wrong, working on it at training and benefiting from that. Whereas it's not I'm turning up to the training, doing it and not seeing them again until the next week. So I'm always with the squad and I'm constantly with them.
I mean, would you say that that's the best aspect of it, is that you're a lot more hands-on and you're able to sort of see both sides of the game? I mean, does it benefit you to be a player manager in that sense? Because you can see what's going on the pitch whilst you're in the middle of a game, and you can also have the perspective of what's going on when you're off the pitch, and you can see it from a wider space.
Massively. Like yesterday, it was so hard. The conditions were, it was for the first game as a team, it was the worst conditions.
Yeah.
And the scoreline, we got beat 5-1, but the scoreline does not evaluate the game.
Really, does it?
No, but even their team messaged me when that scoreline was nothing on the performance because we gave them a game, and that was the main thing. I got a group of lads down. They played the match. They played the hearts out. They proved themselves because I said to them, I know how you play. I said, I know how every one of you play, and I know what I want you to sign. But two of my assistants, I've not seen you play. One's seen you at training, but no one's seen you in a game situation. So you need to prove to them why I've chose you to sign on. I want you to prove to us what you've got about you. And then at half time, I obviously went over because all the lads get straight in, got a drink. We said, okay, basically straight away, it was just, where do you think we can work on? And I'm asking them to give me back because obviously if I'm on the pitch, I've got areas that I can see, but if you've got another player on the pitch and they see in other areas, or you've got players on the bench who've seen areas on the pitch where we're lacking, they can say it to me. And like we said, it's no harsh criticism. If you get a bit of feedback, take it on board, work on it. And I think every single one of them lads made me proud yesterday. And I said it to them, I said, I've got no negatives. It was your first game as a team, because all we've done for the past 4 or 5 weeks is train. So it was our first proper match, and we were thrown at the deep end, basically. And we did what we could, and we did really well.
Well, that's all you can hope for. Obviously, you want players that are able to, adapt and learn from the advice that they're given. Especially as a coach, you don't want to give players advice and then them sort of have their heads drop and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you say is needed to improve the group then? Is there a particular area that obviously you look at the manager?
I think going from yesterday's game, I think it was more aerial. We need someone get a bit more height, a bit more of a presence in the midfield, because they had a really, really tall centre midfielder, and you couldn't get the ball past him. Like, you tried slotting it past him, his feet were there. Try getting over him, his head's there, and you're thinking, okay, it's like a brick wall. You're not going to get past him.
I wouldn't be much help there. I'm like 5'6", so
yeah. It was hard. Like, obviously they've played 5 games together, so they've already got their group bond, whereas we've only had training. So we're only going to get to where they're at the more we play.
Well, Rome wasn't built in a day, was it? So.
Exactly. No. So, I mean, like, we had a bit more width out wide, a bit of height in the midfield if needed, or a taller striker, or just basically someone a bit more of a presence. And for the problem we had, because we played like a 4-4-2 formation, we didn't have the midfielders, like the 2 centre midfielders were drifting, so no one was sitting, so they weren't talking to each other, because obviously they're new, so they just wanted to prove themselves. So it was like, if you're going to like drop, tell that midfielder you're going to drop, so then everyone knows on the pitch what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, a lot of people were worried because it was a new team, they didn't know everyone. So I said, relax, calm yourself down, get your passes straight, get everything sorted first, then worry about everything else. Because at the end of the day, if we don't know the basics, we're throwing ourselves in the deep end, wearing a mask on our face. We haven't got a clue what's going on. If we focus on the basics and we work on that, then I feel like we will challenge this season. It's obviously, we have got a very, very tough group, and a lot of the teams, I know players from there,
right.
So
you know about their qualities and stuff. Yeah,
and it's obviously, but I've been told straight away as soon as I said, "Oh yeah, this team have got all these kind of players." Everyone's like, "Forget who they've got," because at the end of the day, if you worry about who they've got when you're coming up against them, you're not going to be focusing on your game. Yeah. And as a player manager, I can't be doing that. I can't be saying, well, they've got this player, watch out for it. let the players learn that for themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's like, obviously, I when I go and watch Salford at the weekend, I don't go and go, oh, they've got this certain player. Oh, because at the end of the day, that player is nowhere to be seen that game because you're worrying about them. But in a game situation, they could have a bad day. You don't know. So it's all what happens on the pitch. So I just said to our lads, I said, focus on your basics, focus on playing your game, and then everything around you will happen as time progresses.
And why do you think people should join this group? I know obviously you're fairly close to completing a full squad, but
Yeah,
if you were to advertise as to why people should join, what would be the sort of the main reasons that you would express?
I just say it's a bit more like a community of lads coming down. It's a bit of laugh at the end of the day. Like Sunday League football it's competitive. There's no doubt about that. But it's a laugh at the end of the day. It's not.
Yeah.
We're not going in. It's not all serious. It's not. You play your match. You go home and you downhearted. We want to build up squad morale, squad confidence. We want lads to come back, mingle with other players, get to know other players, not feel like they can't talk to other players because they're older or they've had a go at you on the pitch. And at the end of the day, every player has got an attitude on the pitch that's different to them. Because I could see red and go mad at one of my players, but then come on the pitch and off the pitch and apologise.
Yeah.
And it's like
respect. It's the mutual respect.
Yeah. So that's what it is. I think for me, it's just getting lads down to have a bit of a laugh. Because I think what it is like I said, I had training last week. We had 30 players come down, and I think what it is, it's more open for a lot of people to come down, have a laugh. And like I said, with lockdown, a lot of people haven't played football. Like a lot of us who played yesterday haven't played in like 6 months.
Yeah,
so it was tough on us.
A lot of people want to join teams, don't they? And they want to get.
Yeah, a lot of people have now gone, okay, what can I do? But I've not been able to do a lot of things. So obviously for me, I've done more walking, running since lockdown because of a lot of people. I've just seen a lot of people going like doing climbs and going on runs and basically improving fitness. And I thought, well, instead of me just sitting at home doing nothing, I may as well benefit with my time off and do stuff. And obviously with me creating the club, it's just getting lads down to have a laugh. And I mean, the more you have, obviously the harder it is to coach if you're on your own. But the more you have, the more it's going to promote itself. Because, I mean, when I created the social media pages, I only did it to promote it for the lads who I've got, like, who are playing on their social media to say, like, oh, here's our pictures from the game. And then when you approached us, I was like, taken back, saying, we're just a Sunday League team. Like, we're nothing special. But at the end of the day, like, with this lockdown, I don't think there's been clubs like starting up while you're in the middle of a crisis.
Exactly.
So it is a big difference. But I mean, like I said, the reason I think a lot of lads want to come down, a lot of more people are interested, and it is the football itself. It's because you've got lads who've played together, lads who haven't played together, and you've got players who think, okay, we need, and then they can see on the pitch. So like I had a lad message me last night saying, oh, we might need a player in this position. Can I bring him down to train? I said, well, get him to message me and I'll speak to him about it. I said, I've got no problem with players coming down to training, but the only time I will, like I've said, I'm going to put a post down saying on the 1st September, training is only going to be for players who are signed on. Because if I keep getting 30 lads down and only like say 20 are signed on, it's not benefiting the 10 who have turned up because they're not signed on and they're going to keep asking to sign. I think for us, we could sign on as many players as we want. There's no cap, there's no limit. But then it's not gonna help the players who are signed on to get game time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Because we can only choose 11 and max on a match day 16. So even if we push it to like 18 and have 2 extra subs, there's no problem. But still, you've got that's 7 subs on the sideline. So imagine double figures of subs on a sideline. It's having 2 teams. You can't be done.
No, especially as a manager, it'd be a right headache. Especially if you've got players going, oh, I want to play more. I want to do this.
Yeah.
You know. In terms of like, obviously we touched on coronavirus, but how exactly has that affected your group in particular? Because obviously there's is there any like extra precautions that you've had to take, and is there any people that are still wary about actually going out?
Yeah, so some of the lads who have obviously got in my up my sleeve to sign on, they've either worried because of obviously family, etc. with this and I understand when they're mixing, and I can't say, oh, just forget that, come on, calm down, because the more you force them, the more they're going to push away.
Yeah.
So you just let them, and I think some of them who I've spoke to are up for coming back down, and like I said, I'll happily take them down, because they're the players that we need areas and working on. But when we were at the league meeting and we were getting told all the precautions we've got to take, and it was just like, really? Like, how is this going to work? And it was like, you've got to have a bottle of water, you have a bottle of hand sanitizer, half time you've got hand sanitizer, every player. You've got players, keeper can't spit on his gloves, he has to use water. You've got to wipe the balls down. You can't, when the ball goes out of play, you've got to bring it out with your feet, not your hands. And even yesterday, I think it made me laugh. And I said to the referee, how long's left? He said 10 seconds. I went, okay. And then we had him thinking, what do we do when that whistle goes?
Yeah, do you shake hands or do you pat each other?
So the whistle went, and one of the lads went, do we shake hands? Are we allowed? And he went, yeah, you can shake hands. And we're all there doing it, like, cautiously thinking, are we allowed? Like, really?
That's
We
quite
thought it was on the elbow touch or just nod at each other. We hadn't got a clue. But obviously, it felt like it was going back to how it was, but still with that. A lot of players were like, okay, we've been in contact, but are we allowed to shake hands? That's one thing they said not to do.
You'll be slide tackling each other and, jostling in the penalty area and stuff. So it's like, well, how much of a difference does it really make? But obviously, the precautions are there for the best interests, I guess.
Oh yeah, for the benefit of everyone. Like I said, there's nothing we can do. At the end of the day, this pandemic it's growing. It's not easing. It's growing. So we basically just got to adapt to it. Like, I mean, I can't think now the last time I went to I was shopping without wearing a mask. Yeah. It's hard. Like, you've got to basically, instead of worrying about it itself, you've just got to basically take it on board. And I said it yesterday to one of the referees, I said, it's going to be hard this season, because obviously we're only on a 3-month season. It's only half a season. Yeah. So then it restarts in February to October, which is what our normal season would be. But it's hard because you've got a lot of players still wary of what's going on. But like yesterday, it was on this one field, you have 5 games, so 10 teams and spectators. So there's about 250 people on one pitch. That's on one big field. And it's like, it's hard, but then again, there's not areas like, obviously we've been allocated the AstroTurf, right, but the AstroTurf hasn't been relayed yet, and you can't use the changing room. So we've got to turn up to the games either kitted or get changed in the cars, and it's hard because, like you said, if you've got 10 teams there and 5 games, 10 teams, it's hard to actually get all your lads in one space together to hand out kits without other players walking past you. Yesterday was mad. It was I can imagine. It was different.
Sounds it. In terms of the season itself, then, if we're coming into the last sort of 10 minutes or so, what are your goals for this season in terms of a team? Obviously I know sometimes it's difficult to set targets because it's so early on in the campaign that you don't know, but ideally, if you were to have, let's say, 3 objectives that you would really want to nail down, whether it be personal accomplishments or team accomplishments, what sort of things would you want to achieve this year?
For me, it's just gaining that bond between the lads and going into, like, for us, we basically said this 3 months coming up it's friendlies. We're not taking it as it's league games, we're taking it as friendlies because we're a growing club. So we don't want lads going into games thinking we're going to get smashed today. Why am I turning up? We want lads to turn up, take the games on board, basically have a friendly. If we get beat, we get beat. Because at the end of the day, if we go into games and get absolutely smashed, lads' heads are going to be knocked. Yeah. You take the games after, like I said, you take it in like it's a cup final. Like, every game's a cup final. You say that every time. But we just want to basically get the lads bonding, grow as a team, and then go into next season with the same lads. I don't want to lose any players. So that's why I want to get that group morale up, the bonding together, because then obviously players don't have that need to look for other clubs. So going into next season, we want to have the same lads and basically have a bigger name than what we've got now. Because like I said, we're just starting up. The club have been about for years, but this team are just starting up. We want to make a bigger name for ourselves. We want people to know us, talk about us, and kind of be a little bit worried, not think we're going to be a team who gets pushed over. Because that's not what we want. We don't want to be that team to be pushed over. We want to prove what we can actually do.
I mean, would you say that the potential for like an online presence is something that you could be looking at? I mean, obviously we've seen a big rise, particularly with some of the London clubs like #United and Palmer's FC. Sunday League has definitely become something that is broadcastable on YouTube,
Yeah.
particularly because of, like you said, the more strict back nature, the more actual,
Yeah.
just a bunch of guys that play football. And that's the aspect I think a lot of people like. So is that a potential avenue that you would look into?
Yeah, massively. Like we had the team we played yesterday. They're a new team themselves, and they've only just entered the league, and that's why I said they're only 5 games in themselves. They're not a big club, but they film every game, and they post on YouTube, and I've obviously spoke to their manager today, and I said, "Is there any chance we can get the video before you publish it, just so I can analyze it myself, see where the areas, and basically then we can review games." But obviously, I'd ideally want to do that every game. I have someone there to film it, to like basically promote us as much as we can.
Yeah.
And then I think if we have that backing and that promotional value from the club, I think a lot of the lads will be interested in that, because we're not just turning up and having a match. You're actually getting benefits from it, like with your social media aspect.
Yeah, it's definitely a big part of football nowadays, and I think it will always help in getting people to join in this club. So, just a little bit about yourself personally, before we end the interview. Obviously, we mentioned a little bit before we actually started recording, and you'd mentioned that you'd coached in several different countries. So, do you want to give us a little bit more background into your coaching qualifications and stuff like that?
Yeah, so when I was in college, I went to a coaching college called LLS, which was Little League Sport. It's a Liverpool-based company, but they were expanding, and the course was in Salford. So it was only about a 10-minute drive from where I live to where I was based with the college. And I spent 2 years there, gaining my qualifications, gaining experience, working in primary schools, doing PE lessons, etc. And yeah, with the LS Your Tour that they do, I ended up going to Madrid. I coached in a international primary school, which was multilingual. So there was kids from Russia, all over the place. But when they get into that school, they had to speak English.
Right.
So it was kind of a strange one, because there was kids who were like Chinese, you had German. It was a vast variety of kids, but they had to speak English, and it was hard for us as like lads from England going into a country when all these kids speak different languages, but they can only speak English. It's like it was hard. But I've been to Glasgow, went up to Scotland, and I think that was a week or a weekend. Coached up there, and then ended up going to America in 2017 for the summer. I spent 7 weeks out in New England, in Providence. So I coached in 7 different camps. I had 7 different host families, which was strange. Living in 7 different houses while over there. Oh yeah, it was mad. But like you said, there's a lot of families do it over here where they do exchange stuff like with coaches, and it was a very, very different experience to what I was used to, because obviously I was bouncing from house to house. It was like I felt like I was getting to know them, and then I was going, and it was like,
yeah, it's a shame.
And obviously you get to know their families, you get to know the American side of soccer, as they call it. And obviously you don't call it football boots, you call it cleats. They call it shin guards as their shin pads. Yeah. Everything's different, and you're thinking, wow, you thought it was just one thing, but it's actually 10 other things. So yeah, it was the best experience I could have, being able to actually advance myself to another country and be able to be there for 7 weeks working, and ended up getting treated like royalty. And I was just a normal lad from Salford, and I'm getting treated like, yeah, because like Americans love the English, so they took you in with open arms, and you're just getting treated as if like you just won the lottery. Everyone's upset, and you're thinking, I've done nothing. All I've come is to your country to coach, and it is very, very different. And I can't I can't thank the host families I had enough, because as some of them are still in contact with, I speak to them all the time, and you do create them bonds. And like I said, with the football aspect, is you create them bonds, and then you can rely on them players, because some players will come and sign for you if you know them from previous teams or previous experiences, and it's creating that common ground with everyone.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that brings us to the end of the interview. Fascinating listen, and I hope the viewers enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your time, Adam. It's much appreciated. And of course, we will link the social media accounts down below if you guys want to check out Salford Victoria. Don't inundate him with too many messages, because I don't think he'll want like 50 odd players turning up for training.
Don't worry.
So, of course, if you are interested, check them out on Instagram, give them a bit of support, hope to grow the club and stuff like that. But thanks for watching this interview. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one.